I think that the key part to most of these whole passage questions is to remember it's the main focus. It's something that's not going to be subtle. It's going to be noticeable. It's the main thing. So that's why we can start out by using dumb summaries, because what's the big picture stuff? What's the stuff that you couldn't miss even if you were really confused about what you were reading? There's certain things that you wouldn't be able to miss, and we want to start with that, get rid of some junk answer choices, and then we can start to refine our summary and our answers a little bit more deeply. So we had other questions. Remember, we're supposed to save these whole passage questions until after we've done all the other questions in the passage. We would have done all these others and we would have seen a very clear, right here, positive paragraph. I'm not even going to go reading it again. There's another question about it. I forget which number, but I think it's maybe the next one, the next question, the next two questions that are all about this paragraph. Is lots of positive stuff he says about Americans. Then the remainder of the passage, kind of starting here, talks about the faults of the Americans. So there's a clear shift from positive to negative. That's a dumb summary. That's enough for now. So what do? We go down here and we say, okay, which choice sounds like a shift from positive to negative? Let's see. A, defending Americans against the charge of being uncultivated to conceding that Americans would benefit from being more refined. Okay, defending them to saying that they need to be more refined, that sounds like positive to negative, good enough for now. B, describing particular kindnesses shown to him by Americans to questioning why Americans are so suspicious of their own countrymen. Okay, fine. Kindnesses is positive, and then questioning something about their suspicions, that sounds kind of negative. Fine, I'll keep that. C, discussing the tendency of nations to take pride in their flaws to recommending that Americans view themselves more critically. No, this isn't about other nations. This is only about Americans. So I don't know what this is talking about. And this also sounds like negative to negative. This is bad. D, praising admirable qualities identified with Americans who expressing concern about certain objectionable American traits. So yeah, this is also positive to negative. I don't know why I'm writing that, but there you go. So we got rid of a bad choice. Now we can start to say, well, okay, obviously it's more specific than just positive to negative. What else can we think about here? Well, this is great. So I would start by getting rid of A. And if you've watched my other videos in this particular passage, you've heard me talk a lot about this concept in choices of strong versus weak. Strong words, detailed words, specific words. They're not always wrong, but they're problematic. We have to look at them and examine them and prove them. Weak things, things that are very broad and general and vague, those are better. They tend not to have any problems, so they end up being right just kind of by process elimination. A is very specific. Defending Americans against the charge of being uncultivated to conceding that Americans would benefit from being more refined. Now, if I want to give my dumb summary an extra little boost as well, what was the main thing that he was talking about, especially at the end here? It was the Americans' distrust. Distrust has nothing to do with being refined or uncultivated. I think there's like one paragraph buried in here that we didn't even really read that talks about this, and it didn't come up for any of the questions, and so for me, I would just have thrown this choice out more easily, but you know, that's why I don't read the passages. That's why I use the no reading strategy. But this is way too specific. It has nothing to do with distrust, and it's just not what we read. And so, too strong. I would get rid of this. I think B and D, it's more understandable why you would be between those choices. However, again, strong words save us here. Look at B. Describing particular kindnesses shown to him by Americans to questioning why Americans are so suspicious of their own countrymen. So, particular kindnesses? Does he actually list specific moments that people did specific nice things for him? Let's go back. Let's go back to that positive paragraph right here. They are by nature frank, brave, cordial, hospitable, and affectionate. Cultivation and refinement seem but to enhance their warmth of heart and ardent enthusiasm. Blah, 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 blah. They're all my friends. I esteem them and have pleasure with them. Yeah, he's just saying nice things. He is not saying, you know, John Smith of Maryland held the door open for me when I went to the privy. It's not about specific kindnesses. So it's not about anything specific. Plus, they're not really suspicious of their own countrymen. They're suspicious in particular about politicians. So the fact that they're getting too specific in choice B, even in the end here, is also like making me very nervous. D, though, let's compare. Put them side by side in your head. Praising admirable qualities. Particular kindnesses, specific instances of kindness, versus admirable qualities. What's an admirable quality? It's so vague. It's so weak and general. It's great. It's really easy to find a list of admirable qualities. As I said, they are by nature frank, brave, cordial, hospitable, and affectionate. Those are admirable qualities. Check. Expressing concern about certain objectionable American traits. Notice, they do not name the objectionable traits. Not in the choice. In the passage, they do. They talk about suspicion and distrust and fickleness and all those things. But the choice does not even bother to name the main idea itself. Awesome, good, that's good for us. Vague is good, means that there's less that could be wrong with it. Were there objectionable traits that were mentioned? Yes, there were. D is right because it just says this. That, I think, is the key. Is that at the beginning, A, B, and D all seemed to match our dumb summary. But A and B said our dumb summary and then some. It went on. It kept talking, like I do in a lot of these videos. I just keep talking even though I've made my point. These are strong choices. We want something that just hits the dumb ideas, just keeps it vague and basic. So that's why I always encourage you to use dumb summaries. Keep it vague and basic. The more specific you are, the more likely that you're going to miss the main ideas by focusing too much on the details and get bogged down in these little choices that don't really matter. Vague is good. General is good. Stick to dumb stuff, and then you can analyze if you really need to beyond that.